Hey guys, I am Stuart and this is
Dr. Tiff.
Welcome back to S2 TV. I'm announcing my coming out of retirement today. I officially am going to start training for powerlifting meet probably in about 6 months with my eye on the National Masters in probably shy of a year, like next October. So some of you know and don't know, but I actually came up in powerlifting, won Teenage Nationals a couple years in a row, men's state championship, and I was on the cusp of breaking several national records, and I could have competed on a world-class level. And then I entered the Army when I was 18 years old and just never got back into heavy strength training since then. And I've consistently done a lot of different types of weight training, but until probably about 3 or 4 months ago, I just haven't really pushed what I would consider to be an 85% RM, or 85% of my one max lift capacity, and just started playing around with it and doing it, and lo and behold, I felt really, really good and very strong. So I'm 46 years old. And I just got this itch that I really want to give it one last shot. And like I said, I never got to finish what I started in powerlifting. And I just really still love and respect the art. So what's going to be interesting about what I do, my evolution, is going to be much different than it ever was before. And maybe very different than a lot of people may think of how one would start strength training, or specifically for powerlifting. I've got a couple of different issues or challenges ahead of me as I do this. Now, my first challenge is I want to compete in the IPF, International Powerlifting Federation. They are the absolute strictest federation that's out there in terms of drug testing, the lifts, the depth of squat, how the technique that you are applying has to be absolutely perfect. And I'm also going to be doing it raw. So I used to compete with a lot of different equipment, and I don't want to do that anymore. I'm going to be doing what's called raw powerlifting, so very, very minimal equipment. The body weight I'm going to compete at is 163.8. So my first challenge is I am weighing right now about 171. So I've elicited my nutritionist expertise here, Dr. Tiff, to start to help me redesign what it is that I will be eating and how can I attack further body fat percentages, hold as much muscle as possible, but not get bigger. It's easy to go out here and work out and do strength training and hypertrophy and increase my muscle size and get stronger, but I actually want to either maintain, or I could probably lose a pound or two of muscle, but I still need to increase my strength considerably. So we just did my first InBody, my body fat, my body composition, and I'll let Tiff tell you basically what it came out.
Sure. So we have had this software for a little over a year. When we first got Stu on here, he was coming in right at 162, but he didn't feel like he had the muscle mass that he wanted, and we slowly trickled that up. He got up to over 90 pounds of muscle and kept his body fat where it was, and then we've kind of he's kind of gotten off of tracking probably the last 6 months as we got the business going.
Well, tell him what my body fat was at 162.
162, he was at 9.9%. Then he got up to 166 and was at 13.9 pounds of muscle, or excuse me, pounds of fat. So we are now working to get more fat off, and percentage-wise, the highest he's been is 9.5 in terms of his percent body fat. So I think goal-wise, obviously we want to sustain that muscle like he talked about, shed a little body fat, Let him continue to eat Pop-Tarts because there's no reason he shouldn't get to have those. But really dial in his numbers, get him back on a meticulous tracking, and we all kind of go through those ebbs and flows of really being dialed in, which he was back last fall, about a year ago. But then, again, you have to kind of let your body recover and take a break just like you do from physical training. The nutrition piece has its ebbs and flows, and so now he's ready to really dial it back in. We're going to recalculate his macros, carbs, fats, proteins, and really give him a prescription that's going to allow him to sustain or gain some muscle mass and really lose some body fat to get him back down. We're looking at losing, it sounds like 7 or 8 pounds given where he's coming in today. So that's our goal.
Of just fat. So
exactly.
we're gonna sustain muscle tissue and attempt to lose 8 pounds. And the lowest I was probably about 6 or 7 months ago. It's not
5%.
I was down to 5. I think we had one reading that was 4.5% body fat. So I'll probably be going into a contest at about the same, about 4.5 to 5% body fat again, ripped to shreds and strong as an ox. And it's going to be really interesting because it's kind of a paradox. We don't think about this in powerlifting. And I really want to kind of start a new trend, a new idea about strength training. How can we get stronger and rip to shreds at the same time, guys? And I say guys because it's mostly guys that are interested, but there's a lot of women out there that want to get stronger and not put on tons of mass. So think about the MMA, a wrestler, somebody whose body weight is of consideration for their sport, or you just really want to get stronger but not get bigger. Watch these videos, guys, because I'm going to be chronicling this process for the next 6 months to a year. And I've got some other interesting issues. Number one, we've got to make sure that my body fat is slowly trickling back down and that I can sustain. I want to sustain the body weight I'm going to compete at for months before I actually compete, so I don't have to lose any weight. I'm going to go in strong as an ox without not dieting at all. The other issue is I have to bring in corrective exercise. So I've got a host of injuries that I've got to deal with and watch. My repetition range, the amount of volume that I'm doing in exercises, I have to be very careful of because my body can hypertrophy. I've been as high as 205 pounds. I'm 5'7", and I was 15-16% body fat, but I was probably shy of 100 pounds of muscle mass. So I can get big really easily. So the quintessential 5-rep, 8-rep strength training is not going to work for me. I'm going to have to work on a lower rep percentage and really look at neurological strength, not just hypertrophy. I'm going to look at a lot of different science that's out there on strength training outside of just lifting weights, different ways of introducing strength into program design that don't make the body hypertrophy. So once again, guys, stay tuned. I think it's going to be interesting. We're going to cover a lot of stuff. I'm going to continue to work with Tiffany. I'll let you guys in on kind of my macro-based program design, what we're seeing with body fat, what I'm seeing with strengths or strength gains, challenges that I'm having, and then also, like I say, we're going to bring in a lot of different new and different science, and I'm probably going to be recreating the wheel a good bit. I'm probably going to hopefully end up coming up with my own unique ideas about how we can strength train and not put on tons and tons of mass that maybe doesn't translate to relative strength and relative power, which is what I'm concerned with. Pound for pound, I want to get stronger at a current body weight. So, anything to add?
No, it'll be a fun process, and he has to listen to me, so that's the best part.
Yeah, very excited about that. Thanks for watching, guys.
See ya.